going to show you guys how to 3-course a roof. This roof right here. They get a leak in their garage. It's basically right below this area right here. And we scraped a little bit more of the coating and found a hole right over here. And you see that, like a little thin spot. A little bit over here too. So it looks like the coating has failed in a couple areas. And so first thing you got to do is clean everything really good and get anything loose off, any of the debris off, and cut and make a few pieces of this webbing. We're going to simply use, because we're kind of in a pinch right here, Henry's wet patch. It's good. You can get it at Home Depot. Works real good. Sticks really good. Get a little bit of primer. Asphalt primer's not a bad idea to use. Okay, asphalt primer. You can't get that at Home Depot. As you might, they used to sell it. So we're going to try to fix this leak quickly for this guy. You can see that rather than running the hot tar roof up here, rather than running it up here, they just put a piece of metal on there. And it's probably just getting behind there and running through here. That's one of the problems. Just getting everything all prepped. See, first thing you're going to do is get all your little pieces of webbing prepped and ready. Because once you start getting this stuff on your hand, you can't cut the webbing at all. She's got a little pair of neoprene gloves. This is the quickest way to do a 3-course. A lot of the roofers like to use a trowel. If you can get a couple pair of these gloves, you can do this stuff really quick. You do want to put on multiple pairs because they tear. So you want at least 2 pairs of these things on. This stuff sticks to your skin like you would not believe. That's it. Just get it on there. To be honest with you, by hand is the best way to go. Fiberglass mesh reinforcement. This will keep it from cracking out. You have to use this. First coat goes on pretty thin. Next second coat you can put on a little more liberally. Make sure that all the fiberglass is hidden. Pretty much that's it. Don't want to mess with it too much. Just do what you have to do. One thing we didn't show you is that, so you can see we're 3-course, there's a rock roof, and he cleaned it first. Scraped it all back, and try not to get too much of the, you can't get the webbing in the rocks at all, or the water will just go under it. And you don't want to get too much of the mastic in there, because it does create a weak point, but this is pretty good for a quick little patch. It should solve it. And you can see they had a weak spot. The water was running right up underneath there. Right where he's fixing right now is exactly where it was leaking, but sometimes the water can run over to those areas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it running. So we checked a couple areas to see if it might be running. I think that area is a possibility. We're going to fix this area here, right here. Looks like the roof had been coated. Coating's starting to fail in a couple locations. Cleaned it all out. You can see got the composition shingles lifted up so that he's going to be able to get it under there. It's real important you go under, not on top. So this area's been cleaned up pretty darn good. Yeah, you can see this glove is the only way to go. Whenever you see somebody with a trowel, you can tell they don't do this a lot. Do yourself a favor and use the glove. Same technique as before, just embed in a layer of this fiberglass. Don't put on another coat, make sure you embed it first, just go on, push it down, make sure there's no air bubbles or anything. So a piece of his webbing was flying away. Got it. Just want to make sure you get the webbing super, this one? Make sure you get the webbing super flat. So run the second piece just up the wall a little bit, overlap it. I'm just gonna have to cut it, just trim it just a hair. Push it in there right up underneath the comp. Webbing does have to be pretty strategically placed, because if you just, it can make for a weak spot. I think he's gonna, you want the knife?
No.
Just make a little cut right there on that corner. See that? That's how you wrap it around that corner. A little tiny cut with the scissors. The relief cuts are important. You don't want this thing bubbling anywhere or water will get under it, so it's got to sit perfectly flat. You want to be careful when you lift up these composition shingles. Right where you lift them up, they tend to just like, they'll break right there. So you gotta make sure your roofer just don't like peel it straight up. Even with trying to be careful with it, you can see it still has like a little tiny crease in it. So we're trying to be super, super careful with it. If you go and torture these too much, they just get a big crease in them and then they break and you have to replace them. It just causes you more work. You just really want to take your time. It really doesn't take that much time, to be honest with you. I will say this though, we've spent more time prepping this area and doing a little investigation. We've probably been prepping and investigating the roof leak, measuring, checking inside, going back and forth for over an hour before we came up with the exact area that we want to work on. Yeah, looks pretty good. It's not going to leak right from that corner now. You can see the corner's pretty good. That is right where the it's leaking in from inside the garage, but it doesn't mean that that's exactly the leak source. So we're patching it because we made a couple holes to double check and see if there's any moisture or wetness underneath there. It's been too many days since it's rained and it's pretty dry, so we can't tell for sure. There's a little hole that we found in the roof where we suspect water might be running underneath the hot tar rock in between the base and the plies. You can see we did not use primer on this, but you can see the roofer previously that they had installed emulsion. That's why it's all like kind of black. So they got a really good coat of emulsion on here. That's cleaned up the rock roof really good. So if you're going to go right over emulsion, you can just forego the primer. Primer today just takes too long to dry. Doing it this way, you're fine. If it hadn't been previously emulsified, then you would have to install primer for sure. We brought it just in case, but no. And because we're using this wet patch, this stuff sticks to almost anything. It'll even stick on a wet surface. If you use a mastic that's not real high quality, you're probably going to have to use primer no matter what. Probably a lot of it. So it's just basically rinse and repeat. We're just going to go right back over it. There's the one area. Water's not getting through at this corner for sure, 100%. And we know that the weak spot over here at the end, it's not getting through. We'll see if the customer wants us to go back through and recoat this for the guy. If this doesn't solve it, we'll recoat it. He might still get a couple more drops. Yeah, it looks like they've been battling it. There's a torch down, layer of torch down right in here. It looks like it got expanded with some white coating. Well, flat roofs, they can be really tricky to fix. You can't fix them the first time all the time. You fix 10 of these, you're going to go back and probably have to fix 3 of them over. It's just the way it goes. Nobody's 100% on these flat roofs, no matter how perfect your roof is. Sometimes they're running, the roof is just not in good enough condition to withstand a repair, the heat and extra rain, so that's pretty much the best you can do. That's about it. 3-coursing technique right there. That's all you need. See you on the next one. Alright, so we're wrapping up. We're just going to get the rock back in shape. That's the way it looks like. Kind of back to normal. Let's see. That's fine. This little test area we basically cut to see if there's water under there. There's another test area. We did find a few problems here. And definitely this seam right here was open. Overall, probably took us about 2 hours to be honest with you, and really the whole technical part was just doing the 3-coursing, so that's it. You see a lot of asphalt composition shingle roofs around here. Working those too. We're out of here. I'll see you on the next one.